I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night to whoever watching this transmission. Let's bear a thought for those living in Melbourne, Australia, down under. Now, we've been covering the Australian housing crisis here for about 7 years now on the channel, kind of connecting the dots across the Commonwealth. What's happening in New Zealand is happening in Australia, what's happening in Australia is happening in the UK, and what's happening in the UK is happening in Canada. Heck, even Jamaica. And what's happening? Well, people or cities getting bought out by wealthy investors and leaving empty, vacant homes littered across major cities, and basically not even hooked up to the hookups. And there's a story that was sent to me by 5 different people, and they want to get my opinion on it. So I said, sure. So here it is, guys. When I get 5 of the same, or 10, 20 of the same article, I go ahead and read it regardless. And here it is. So let's go over to article scan. Melbourne empty home prices up 13 points in 2 years. 13 percentage points. Now, vacant homes is nothing new. Vacant homes is old news. Early occurrences was an early, let's say 2009, 2010. You would see a lot of reported vacant homes in California. And that's how it started in California, where it's turned into what it is today. With the mass exodus of people leaving. Now, California started about 2009, and you started to see a lot of homes purchased after the crash for a good deal, and they just were left empty. They don't want to deal with renters. They don't want to rent it out. They don't want to deal with it, so they just leave them empty. Now, in California, it's been reported, and we covered it on Trends in the Housing Market, that for every one empty unit, there's 4 homeless people living in LA County. 1 homeless person, 4 empty units. That's how bad it is for vacant properties in California. So anyways, let's go over to Melbourne now. Melbourne empty homes up 13 points. Melbourne's vacancy dwellings rose 13.3% over the last 2 years in 2019, according to the water meter data. So what's going on is this is very important, because it ties into an article here I'm going to show you guys from a few years back. It's very important that you understand this. Hookups. It's all about hookups, right? So this is it. It appears that vacant residential land tax was built to fail, with no oversight and no fines issued for failure to self-report. Prosper director of the research of Karl Fitzgerald said vacancies have increased by 13.3% since the tax was introduced. So you will see more and more vacant properties. Now, do you guys remember that there's an article out there, we covered it here, 40 million empty homes in China. Vacant condos, homes all over the Chinese major cities, or these ghost cities. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, what's happened with that is a lot of people leveraged those properties with a Chinese bank, used that money and proceeds to actually buy in the Commonwealth, to actually buy in Australia, Canada, New Zealand. They used leveraged money from those properties, not to buy more in China, because there's only like a housing law that like one family could own 1 house, or one investor for 2 houses. They passed this law because some people were buying up too many properties, right? They're all empty though. Like, it's not like they're renting them out. So let's move on. Now pay attention to this. Watch how this actually coincides together here. Right here. Melbourne's 60,000 vacant home houses uncovered. This is nothing new. This is from 2019. This was happening pre-COVID. And Melbourne's 69,000 ghost homes added to housing affordability woes. Now, here's what actually grinds my gears here, like really grinds my gears, is that they've said it's been a supply versus demand issue all these years. We need to build more. We need supply and demand. We need to build more. When you don't have enough, the population is growing. No, the Australian proper isn't having kids. The Australian proper can't afford to have kids. And the Australian proper a majority of the Australian proper can't afford to buy in their own country. Affordability, severely unaffordable. I read that article 3 years ago about Sydney. How Sydney, it's not Melbourne, but Sydney, severely unaffordable. Where did people move when they had to exit Sydney? Melbourne. Some moved to Hobart. Hobart was a lot cheaper, and Hobart was more affordable, right? And look what happened to housing in Hobart. It took off faster than a rocket on its way to nowhere. Anyways, in a leafy street in Blackburn in Melbourne's east, modern-looking residence with curvaceous wooden facade has sat empty for a year. Yeah, and you could tell because the grass is uncut, and they have housing decorations that have been sitting there for millions and millions of years. The hefty tax has levied rate of 1% of the property value on a $1.6 million Blackburn property. It would add an annual charge of 16 large. So, okay, let's move on. Now, this is very important. Now, this is going to tie in why 1.1 million Aussies are planning to sell their homes soon. A lot of Australians are cash-strapped. I read the article the other day for you guys how, or renewed the article that was posted a year before COVID and all that stuff, how there are people in Australia have to get food vouchers from the food bank because they can't afford to pay. And this was pre-COVID. This is not during COVID. This is pre-COVID. Pre-COVID. Okay, so that's what's happened, right? So this is pre-COVID. Now, as the normal hustle and bustle of life on the ground to a halt during the lockdowns earlier this year, Australians found themselves reassessing their priorities in life during the weeks or even months. Stuck aside, people began dreaming of what might be possible. I'm not going to read this as a story here, but here it is. Intention to sell houses in the next 6 months. There it is, October 2020. You're seeing a massive uptick in people looking to sell. Why? Because a lot of people bought off of FOMO. A lot of people, I saw an article the other day, not an article, a Twitter post from just an absolute genius. She said in her post, basically, but the media told me that housing is going to still keep going up and it's a really good investment. Well, I mean, you don't listen to mainstream media when it comes to things like that, especially when you're making the most important purchase of your life. All right, let's move on. So now, vacant homes is nothing new. Now, we went over this again many times, but this is kind of important. Now, runaway real estate speculation has filed global capitals with vacant homes, creating artificial shortages in the world's most sought-after cities. The shortage has made local homeowners wealthy overnight. It comes at a cost of turning lively cities into empty shells. Now, Melbourne's turning into empty shell. Melbourne's seeing a mass exodus right now, today. Melbourne's in trouble. And who's leaving? The people that actually pay the damn taxes. The people that actually support the infrastructure are leaving. The people that actually make the difference in the country are leaving. And moving to brighter, greener pastures, right? So this is it. Now, I want to show this to you guys because look at here. Look at all of these empty homes. Now, if you start here with London, 59,881. 8 million people in Britain, in England, 8 million people are living below the poverty or in severe poverty level. New York City, 308,000 empty units. A lot of it foreign investor owned. And that's why you see New York with a major mass exodus. That's why you see London, England, with a major mass exodus of people moving to Middle England. And then Hong Kong, 42,000 empty units. This is before the whole riots and all that stuff. So you're sitting on 42,000 empty units on a piece of land I think the Azores are bigger than Hong Kong. The Azore Islands are bigger than Hong Kong. Paris, another one, mass exodus of people leaving the capital. I don't know about Singapore. I'm not gonna comment on Singapore because I don't know. Sydney, mass exodus of Sydney. I made videos about this. We've been talking about this for years. Toronto, 99,000. Another mass exodus out of Toronto. Vancouver, 66,000. I'm one of those mass exodus people that left 4 years ago. San Francisco, 30,000 empty units. More mass exodus. And Los Angeles, 213,000. And remember when I told you guys, for every one homeless person, there's 4 units? Well, Los Angeles is sitting on 213,649. Now, hold on. Vacant home count. Let me explain this vacant home counts. These are people that are not hooked up to cable, water, electricity. Yeah, this is it right here. And this is an old article. There's the vacancy percentage, and this is what is driving up the price of housing. We know this already. We all know this already. This is no secret. But they're trying to fix it now. Look what they're doing in Canada. Vancouver to triple empty home tax to 3% in 2021. Is this going to help? No. Vancouver to tax vacant homes at 3%. This is cheaper than paying a loan shark to hold your like a reverse loan shark where they hold your money and you pay them the vig. And this way you don't have to bring your cash back to your homeland and get in trouble or sell and maybe put in a Canadian bank account, and that's gets into shadow flipping, and that's something else. Now, surge in demand for $10 million plus homes. The wealthy buyers are buying second and third luxury homes. So as restrictions ease, restrictions prevent overseas travel and state restrictions ease. So surge in demand for $10 million house. Now, let me explain to you how this is a good opportunity to launder your money. Now, let me explain why. Now, let's say you wanted to do integrated layering with your money. So let's say you want to go to Central Florida and you want to launder your money through a piece of real estate there, because in America, there is an immigration plan there where you buy a property and you can start immigrating and getting your paperwork and a business and stuff. That's all fine and dandy. That's happening. But the thing is, why would you do it in Central Florida or Georgia or something, or South Carolina, when with the average house, benchmark house is around $200,000? It's going to take you 1,000,000 years to launder $10 million. What's better than that? Well, you could go to like a house here in Australia. You could buy the same house somewhere in Florida for like $100,000, but that's not the point. The point is taking the $10 million, buying that one property in Australia. You're already in $10 million, right? Then you don't have to do this integrated layering like you would have to in the States and flip the property 50 times over, right? Where this one, you could just buy the one property, hold it for a year or two, and when you're ready to cash out, you sell it. Maybe you might sell it at a loss. 10 million home, maybe you could sell it for $9. You took $1 million, but you don't have your money on your shores being watched by your government, and you have it clean somewhere else. And this way, it protects your assets. But the locals living there, basically, I could bet you some of these properties here were like $800,000 like 7-8 years ago. But they're now the $10 million today, right? So, but that's just what's happening. It's very good when you're layering money to do it this way instead of going cheaper properties. You go cheaper properties, takes 1,000,000 years to layer all that money. This way, you go in, you buy out $10 million properties, you leave the average price properties for the locals so they could get in. But the mistake that a lot of the foreign investors did, they started getting into the middle class and small class family homes, and they started driving those prices up, and that ruined it for everybody. And that's why you're seeing empty shells. So there it is, guys. Some of my videos here on my channel: vacant homes emergency, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Ireland, England, from 3 years ago. What is happening? This is out of control. Why hasn't anyone called an international emergency? That's my opinion there. Like, this is an international emergency when the locals cannot buy into their own markets because they're getting outbid. This is an older video. Look at this from years ago. Housing crisis, 25,000 vacant homes in Vancouver. This is mine. Look at that. That's me. Vancouver, vacant home tax, 2% rate hike. They tried everything. New Zealand banned sale of home to foreign buyers. That was 2 years ago. $1 million teardowns, empty homes in Vancouver, walking the streets. $1 million teardowns, guys. You should see that video. Canadian real estate increasing. Here we go. 1 in 10 Australian dwellings are empty. And this is not new news, but some countries now, like Canada, is trying to fight this. Foreign buyers tax could work, but they need to follow it up, right? You just can't put the threat out there. Look at this. 4 years ago, Sydney versus Vancouver, crazy markets. Wow. Look at this. Housing crisis, Australia, get out of Sydney. I haven't lived in this property in 4 years, and it's saying 3 years ago. That's fine. I know I say that every time, but young families leaving big cities 4 years ago. This is not a new trend. But the thing is why are they coming out now and doing so? Like, why are they all of a sudden going really public with this? And are they trying to enrage the people? Are they trying to, what do they want to accomplish by telling us this now, which we've already known for so many years? Are they going to now implement a vacant, because what Paris did, look, vacant homes are a global epidemic, and Paris is fighting it with a 60% tax hike. 60%. And they fixed that problem pretty much overnight when they went 60%. That's how they fix it in Europe. You know what I'm saying? They're like now tripling it to 16%. This was in 2015, and now they're tripling it to 60%. 107,000 vacant homes, representing 7.5% of all residential dwellings in Paris. That's just in Paris. And that's a lot. Local developers have argued that more new construction is a solution. Again, supply versus demand myth. However, in any case, in dense Paris, where it is very difficult to build, controlling the occupancy of housing is strategic. It appears the city believes they have 107,000 reasons more construction is not the solution. This is a really good article because it tells you that the supply versus demand has been a myth. Everyone's been spitting on me on the supply versus demand. That's how it works, and that's how it's supposed to work. No, it's never been the supply versus demand. It's now because this one grinding my gears. Look at this. Melbourne's 69,000 ghost homes add to the housing affordability woes. I've been saying that for years on here. What about the vacant homes? They're not adding it towards the affordability levels. Oh no, that's supply and demand, Mike. We need to build more. And that's how you bought the lie. Hook and how's the saying go? Hook and sinker? You bought it. You bought into it. You were lied to. Just like global warming and whatever they're trying to sell you today. It's been a lie. It's always been a lie. Whatever they tell you, run. Look for yourself. Look visually what's happening around you. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Melbourne, Australia, 69,000 ghost homes. So what? Nobody cares. What are they going to do about it? Well, you know, like in some countries, they just do some repossessions and they start passing laws. Like I would do a vacancy. I would do a vacancy finders, like some sort of finders program. You send out a letter to a home, they must reply. They don't reply. You send a second letter 30 days later or 60 days later, they don't reply. Then 120 days later, they send someone to the house to see if anyone lives in it. It's vacant. They put a sticker on the window that it's ready for repossession. And that's it. Just start taking back properties that are just empty. Nobody lives in. In Paris, what they did during the Gilets jaunes riots, and they're still happening today that they don't cover, is that they actually, believe it or not, went into homes and changed the locks in vacant homes. They called the locksmith. Hey, I lost my keys. They come in, change the lock. They don't even ask for ID. They go in. They connect the phone. They connect the hydro. They connect the water. And people are just moving into homes. They're not even squatting. They're actually hooking up the cable. They're actually like keeping up the yards and cleaning up and taking out the garbage and stuff. Yeah. So people are just taking it back. It's just a matter of time before the locals say enough is enough. Anyways, guys, what does this mean to you? 69,000 ghost homes. So what? Do something about it. You know, they should have set the alarm years ago. I don't know why this was the biggest secret in the world. There's so many secrets they're holding from us. But why mess with people's families and lives? Now the Australian proper can't afford to get into anything. Right? It's become like New Zealand. New Zealand's the same thing. New Zealand has a population, of 5 million? And majority of them are renters? Anyways, comment below. I've spoken enough. I have spoken. Let me know, comment below. Thanks for watching.